actress who became famous around the world for her roles in Heroes and Nashville, has died at the age of 36. The news has shocked her fans, her friends, her fellow actors, and many people who watched her work for years. Her father, Skip Panettiere, announced her death in a statement. He described his daughter as an incredible light and a force of nature. He said that she brought immeasurable love and joy to the people who knew her, and also to the millions of people who watched her on screen. The family has asked for privacy as they deal with what he called an unimaginable loss. At the time of the BBC report, no cause of death had been confirmed, so there are still important questions surrounding her death. But beyond the shocking news of her death, there is a much longer story. It is the story of a woman who began working in television when she was only a very young child. She became a famous child actor. She then became a major television star. She worked in films. She sang. She received major award nominations. And she also spoke openly about some of the difficult experiences in her personal life. Hayden Panettiere's career began when she was only 4 years old. At that age, most children are just beginning to discover the world around them. But Panettiere was already entering the world of television. She was cast in the popular American soap opera One Life to Live. Her career continued from there. As a child, she appeared in commercials and television programs. She later remembered how intense her childhood in the entertainment industry had been. In her memoir, This Is Me, A Reckoning, she wrote about growing up in an industry where work began at a very early age. She said that her mother had taken her into audition rooms when she was only 8 months old. By the time she was 5, she had already appeared in around 50 commercials, and the work simply continued. This meant that acting was not something she started as an adult. It was part of her life almost from the beginning. She grew up in front of cameras, she grew up in front of audiences, and she became famous while she was still very young. One of the early important moments in her film career came with Pixar's animated film A Bug's Life. She voiced Dot, a young ant. The film was released in 1998. She was still a child. She later appeared in films such as Remember the Titans. She also appeared in Raising Helen, Bring It On, All or Nothing, and I Love You, Beth Cooper. But the role that truly changed her career came with a television series called Heroes. Heroes became a major international success. And the series followed ordinary people who discovered that they had extraordinary abilities. Panettiere played Claire Bennett. Claire was a young cheerleader with a remarkable ability. She could heal from serious injuries. The character became one of the most recognizable parts of the series, and Panettiere became internationally famous. For many viewers, Hayden Panettiere became Claire Bennett. The role introduced her to a huge audience. It also showed that she could carry a major role in a successful television drama. Heroes ran for several years and became an important part of popular television culture. But Panettiere did not stop there. A few years later, she took on another major television role. This time, she entered the world of country music. The series was called Nashville. Panettiere played Juliet Barnes. Juliet was a young and ambitious country pop singer. She was talented, she was successful, but she was also under enormous pressure. She was trying to build her career in a highly competitive music industry. The role gave Panettiere another opportunity to show a different side of her acting ability. And there was something else that made the role especially interesting. She actually performed the songs herself. So she was not simply acting as a singer, she was also singing for the series. Her music became an important part of Nashville. 11 songs that she recorded for the program appeared on the US Billboard Hot Country Songs chart. That was a significant achievement. Her performance in Nashville was also recognized by the Golden Globes. She received 2 consecutive Golden Globe nominations for Best Supporting Actress. Those nominations came in 2013 and 2014. By this stage of her career, Panettiere had already achieved something remarkable. She had become a successful child actor. She had become a major television star. She had appeared in films, and she had established herself as a singer through her work on Nashville. She also returned to the world of horror films. Panettiere played Kirby Reed in Scream 4. The film was released in 2011. Years later, she returned to the character in Scream 6. That film was released in 2023. For fans of the Scream series, Kirby became another memorable character in Panettiere's career. But there was another side to her life that was very different from the glamour of Hollywood. She had experienced serious personal struggles, and in recent years she became increasingly open about those experiences. Earlier this year, she released her memoir. The book was called This Is Me, A Reckoning. It was not simply a book about her acting career. It was also an honest look at some of the difficult parts of her life. She wrote about growing up as a child actor. She wrote about addiction. She wrote about abuse. She wrote about motherhood. She wrote about trauma and loss. She also spoke about her mental health. After the birth of her daughter, Kaya, in 2014, Panettiere revealed that she had experienced postpartum depression. She later spoke about the emotional difficulties she had faced during that period. She said that she had struggled with mental health and anxiety. She also spoke about feeling that she had lost herself. In 2018, she gave full custody of her daughter to her former partner, Ukrainian boxer Vladimir Klitschko. Her memoir later addressed this part of her life too. She said that it was painful that some people believed she had simply given up her child. According to her, that was far from the truth. She wanted people to understand the circumstances and the difficulties she had been facing. This is important because Hayden Panettiere's story was not simply the story of a Hollywood actress. It was also the story of a person who spent much of her life in public. Millions of people knew her face. Millions of people knew her characters, but they did not necessarily know what was happening in her private life. Her memoir gave her an opportunity